coming this afternoon to see our performance. I'm Matthew Terry, and this is Joe. He forgot his hair today.
My name is Joe. This is Sophie. She's a mad scientist.
This is Lou. He's an insectivore.
This is Isabel, and she was the voice actor for Boppet.
It's true. This is Nathan, and he is the half-breed child of death metal and a band of wild horses.
This is Ben, and his face looks like that because he's eaten so many unripe persimmons.
Well, this is Matt, and he actually graduated 6 years ago, but is too embarrassed to tell anybody about it.
Yeah.
And we're infinite coincidence.
Yeah, so a couple notes for today. One of our members is out of town, so she'll be coming in during the performance later on. Also, we're doing a video recording, so halfway through the show, we're going to stop so we can change tapes so we can get all of it recorded. So, sounds good. Isabel will be introducing our first one.
Okay, so we're going to start off with the Ronde, which if you've been to any of our shows, you've seen before. So we're going to stand in a line in the back of the stage and cycle on in pairs of 2. Once everyone's cycled through in like a round formation, which is why it's called the Ronde, then it's a little bit more free form. So to get a suggestion to start us off, can we have something that you wouldn't want to find under your couch?
A cockamouse. It's a cross between a cockroach and
We have another suggestion.
Maybe something that wasn't on How I Met Your Mother. Or something.
So maybe like a general object.
Tomato.
Okay.
A very old tomato.
A very old tomato.
A very old tomato. Okay.
Marie. You getting on?
Jennifer, do you always have to do this when we go to the farmer's market? Really? And do I really have to sit in the sidecar? It's kind of...
Paul, we need our produce. Yeah.
This is...
Here.
Oh! So we need to get turnips and some of that organic cauliflower.
Kale. Need the kale.
I've been wondering, and maybe this is about our relationship, but I don't really understand why you had to go out and buy this when you turned 27. If this isn't what I kind of dreamed the person I'd want to spend the rest of my life with would be wanting to get at the age of 27, I figured like books on tape or something like that. Here we are in our Triumph motorcycle.
I wouldn't have pulled over on the highway if I didn't care about you. I do everything for you, Paul.
I know you do.
So I feel like maybe just this once, you could let me have something that I want. You know I married you because your last name is Harley.
You thought I was...
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Sonny, but the kale market is kind of slumping this season. There's been a horrible famine. Kale
A
is
kale
almost
famine?
nearly extinct. I'm barely making
Why
it
does
by.
this always have to happen to me on a Tuesday afternoon? Tuesdays are the worst.
The bug got into the first kale batch on a Tuesday. I understand exactly what you mean. The price is worth its weight in gold nowadays.
Farmer Andrews, I just want to know why you're bringing this to me. What can a biochemist like myself possibly do to stop this kale plague? I don't know what I can do.
You've got to do something. Quickly.
Wait, is this?
I don't have much time left.
Wait. Is it airborne? No.
I didn't want to come to anyone else first because I didn't want to scare anyone, but by now, half the western seaboard is infected with the kale virus.
Then we don't have much time. Thank you for coming to my lab with this. Did I say you could have a seat?
I just assumed because
Because you're dying, you think.
I'm dying. I don't have
Entitled to a
much
seat.
time left. I'm starting to do what I want now. I'm not going to listen to authority anymore. It's on my bucket list.
Well, you better start crossing things off. Farmer Andrews. You know what? It's farmers, it's big industrial farmers like you who think you can play God.
Don't bring up the Lord into this. You know what history she and I have with each other.
I feel as though a wall in my office has been broken. You don't come into my office, my lab office, start tearing down walls and starting plagues so you can make a quick buck at a farmer's market.
How you feeling? I made you
I
some
think
spaghetti.
better. I think I'm doing better today.
Okay, well, I made you some spaghetti, so you just sit tight. Oh my gosh. So, the cologne I bought you, it's not doing anything at all. And so I'm just concerned about the chickens, you know? It's wafting from the house, wafting. And, you engineered this kale famine. Is there any way you could, like, disengineer it?
I already talked to Paul, the scientist who lives down the road, and he can't do anything.
Oh, Paul the hack.
I see that now after.
Eat your spaghetti.
Is this basil or kale?
I hope it's not kale. That would be some very expensive spaghetti if I'd put kale in it. Crap. Pick it out. Your fingers are rotting. Just.
I'm dying. Please, Noreen.
Well, this kale is going to speed up the process, so just let me take it out real quick.
You Noreen Andrews?
Yes.
I'm a law. Been having some complaints about the smell around here.
Yes, officer. Won't you come in?
Please. Officer Bill.
Officer Bill, would you please come in? I'm frankly beside myself. Here, I got this chair. It's my husband.
Mind if I take some notes about this?
Yes, yes. No secrets here. My husband, he was working on his hybrid form of kale because, you know, the market was so...
Kale?
Kale.
Is that
Yeah.
that preppy spinach?
Yeah. One that gives you indigestion.
Never trusted that.
No, me neither.
Don't trust people who eat it either.
But it sells, it really sells, especially to hipster colleges. Anyway, he was engineering a hybrid. And
Okay.
I am fine as a woman can be when her husband is dying from the plague.
The plague, Miss Andrews.
Kale plague.
Do you have more information about this?
All I know is he was out there mixing his little chemicals with the seeds. And boom! Suddenly his fingers are falling off in bed. Anyway, the smell, it's emanating
I'm
from
gonna
this.
take some samples, don't you worry.
Go right ahead.
Let me just grab my kit.
Don't touch the kale. You won't find it on me, I wash.
You saying something about me, Miss Andrews?
Just that someone who's investigating complaints about a smell should maybe be prepped for the job. It's a wonder you can smell anything. I do it to my husband every night before he comes in. Sit down. Sit down. I'm tired of
Take
your
some samples, Miss
belligerent
Andrews.
federal meanderings.
I am an officer of the law, and I can have you arrested for obstruction of justice.
And I am the owner of this house, and my Fourth Amendment rights say you must obey me in this house, I believe. Please, have a seat on the couch before I get really angry.
You're not the only one familiar with the Constitution, Miss Andrews. Might come back to bite you before too long.
To bite me. I work in a chicken coop. Anyway, the chickens have started molting because of the stench. What am I to do?
I'm not a farmer.
So why'd you come to my farm?
To get information about the
And
smell and now the kale epidemic.
And I'm trying to give you information, and you're being very super belligerent.
That's what they train me to do.
No.
Come on, we're going foraging.
I'm really happy.
Shows.
You don't like to talk much when you're driving that.
Just need the wind in my hair. Sweet smell of kale.
I need,
Speaking of kale,
speaking of kale.
I think I spotted one.
Don't!
The woman needs her vegetables.
You don't need to. I don't want to cause a panic. But if you touch that, you'll die.
Please.
I'm serious. You may think that I'm overly protective of you driving this, but you will die if you touch that pretentious spinach.
That's what you told me about the quinoa. That's what you told me about the
Whole grain bread.
goji berries. Agave nectar.
Soy milk and almond
Excuse
milk.
me?
Yes, officer, we're just
Parked on
admiring
the
the
We're parked on the side of the road.
wild brush.
Wow.
Kale is strictly off limits. You do know that.
Is it a crime?
Is that
Is it a crime to park on the side of the road,
kale?
officer?
Parking near kale is, yes, recently a crime. If you've been watching the news, you've seen
Oh, I don't
information
trust
about
the
the
news.
restrictions.
I'm a scientist. I don't trust the news.
I'm a scientist's wife, so.
She also likes motorcycles.
It's a nice bike.
Hey, don't you talk to her like that.
Calm yourself. She's talking about Bessie.
Fine specimen. Fine specimen.
I'm watching you, officer.
Watching
I'll
your
get out of this sidecar.
So, officer, you wanna talk bikes sometime?
Sure.
Hey,
Yeah.
Give
we
you
don't talk about bikes anymore.
here's my card. Stay away from the kale.
I'll talk about bikes when you're willing to talk about whole grains.
This sidecar is really something. Thank you for picking me up.
Yeah, anything for a neighbor.
Yeah.
Where to?
The market.
Farmer's market.
Yes, the market. I have my eggs here.